Hey everyone, this is Marek from Epicode. In this video we'll create something cool especially for Star Wars fans. Recently I found a very nice example of BB8 Droid created in CSS and animated with Web React. I thought it will be fun to recreate it with React Native. We will not use raw React Native style sheets, but instead I will show you how to use styled components. In this video, we will cover some basics. In next ones, I will show you more advanced use cases, and finally we will make our droid alive and animate it. Let's get to the basics. Take a look at documentation. You can see that style components are visual primitives for the component's edge. As you can see, we have example for Web React. So let's find the docs for React Native module, and here it is. So if you want to use this module for React Native, all we need is to add /native to the import path, and we are ready to use wrapped React Native components. What's cool about styled components is that we can use CSS-like syntax, and it will be translated to React Native style sheets with CSS to React Native library under the hood. So let's do some coding. Let's add style components to our project's dependencies. I will use yarn. Of course, you can use npm if you prefer. Here we have very basic style component. You can see how it's created. We import style constructor from the library. It has most of the basic React Native components like views, images, tashables, wrapped and added as static properties. And we can add styles using template strings. If you are using VS Code, it has a very nice extension called VS Code style components. Let's install it. And now it supports syntax highlight. It's all the setup we need, so let's see our code. I prepared a few constants with colors that we will use for our droid. A few empty components that will reflect parts of our droid, and very basic JSX skeleton. So let's start creating our droid's head. I will start with fixed width and height. We will make it scalable later. As I mentioned, it's template string, so we can use our body const inside of it. Let's make top a half circle and bottom with smaller border radius. And we will need overflow hidden to hide the edges of stripes. It's a bit too tall, and it's perfect now. Let's start adding stripes. The first one at the top with gray color, positioned absolutely 100% width. I will make height and position with percentage units, and the background color will be gray 1. Let's add it to JSX, and here it is. Maybe a bit taller. Okay, so now time for stripe 2. So I will copy styles from the first stripe and update them with height, top, and color. And I can add it. Yeah, but as you can see, for example, position and width are just duplicated. So let's create common stripe component and we will extend its styles. I will copy this, paste, and now we can pass the stripe into styled constructor like this. I will remove unnecessary styles and it works as it was before. So let's create third stripe. Height, bottom. This time we will align it to bottom. Let's add it. Okay, now it's time for stripe details. The small parts of orange stripes. So let's start with container. It will have left and right parts, so we will justify content space between and flex direction row and stripe details. Left will be style and view with flex 1. The only different thing in right side will be items align, so we can use stripe details left. I will add our stripe details to JSX. They will not display anything yet. So let's add that small orange parts. So once again, let's add basic stripe detail. It will be full height of parent and background color orange. And now let's create specific stripes with margin, percentage units, second one will be a bit wider, and the third on the right side is a bit lower. And we will overwrite stripe detail height, which was set to 100%, but we can change it to 70% and it will work. Let's add our stripe details. Left side, 2 stripes of type 1, 2 of type 2, and the right side stripe detail 3. And here it is. Oh, the lower needs to be aligned to the bottom. Yes, here it is. So now the time for eyes. I will create container, positioned absolutely, around 20% from top, and with 100%. Now the eyes component, start in the half of the head, and a single eye component with position absolute. It will be our basic component. Now let's create a big one, extends eye, so we have position absolute style. Let's create fixed width and height for now. Remember, we cannot use percentage border radius in React Native, so we need to specify width, height, and border radius equal to the half of them. And a small dot inside, let's call it. It will also extend eye with 4px height, and border radius 2. Background color light. And position it. So let's add first eye, first container, And eye big inside will be eye big detail. Here it is. Now it's time for the smaller eye. It extends also eye, smaller width and height. For the radius, and the background color will be light, 1 pixel border, and let's position it next to the first eye. Let's center it contents. Now let's create a small detail. It will be black circle inside. It will be a bit smaller. And the background color is dark. Let's add it. And here it is. Looks like expected. Now let's add antennas. First, antennas container. Position absolute. About 70% from the bottom. And it will be antennas will be placed next to each other, so flex direction wrong. And now let's create first antenna. Let's give it fixed width, height, and background color gray. I'll copy it and create antenna 2. A bit taller. Let's make it wider. With border top, which will look like this dark end of antenna. Let's add it. One thing to note is we want antennas behind the head, so in JSX we will need to place it above the head. So container, antenna 1, antenna 2, and here it is. Now it's time for the body. It will be bigger than head. Let's start with fixed width and height for now. Background color. And also let's add overflow hidden. We need to move head a bit higher. So let's set top a bit smaller. Oh, it looks perfect. Let's back to the body. Let's start with those 2 crossing lines that looks like armor joints. They will give the feel that the body is sphere instead of flat. So let's make them also circles with very large radius. Now let's add it to the body. Yeah, the first join one, and looks good. Now let's change the name. And the second line will be just moved. We'll have different position, so let's extend first line. Let's add it. And move it a bit more and looks very nice. So now let's add first ring, the middle one. Positioned absolute. Background orange. It will not be a perfect circle, it will be more like ellipses to give the feel of perspective. Let's create a circle and then scale it to looks like an ellipsis. Transform. As you can see, we can use transform just like in regular CSS. And the fill. It will color body. Smaller width and height. And let's position it somewhere inside. Let's add it a bit. Oh, actually it should be percents. And it's centered. Once again, we can take the common part of each ring and create basic ring component that we will extend. And the side ring, the one on the left, width, height, border radius, and let's position it. Now we can add it. Maybe I will move it a little bit. We'll also scale it. And as you can see, we can add multiple transforms. Now let's add fill to ring 2. I can copy background color, sizes, and let's position it. And we can place it inside of ring 2. I will move it a little bit, and it looks very nice. Second side ring will have very similar styles, so let's create basic side ring component. It will extend rings, so as you can see, we can extend component multiple times. And ring 3 will be positioned differently. And also let's change it to side ring fill, because it will be the same for both rings. And let's add third ring. Oh, it didn't display. Let's see what's wrong with the styles. Rotation. Oh, it should be a positive number. And here it is. And here's our final result. BB8 Droid looks pretty much like the original one. Okay, so we covered basics of styled components to create BB8 Droid model. You saw the styled syntax, how to extend styles or override them. Our code looks a bit messy, so in next video I will show you how to clean it up, more advanced concepts of styled components, and we will make the droid scalable, so please stay tuned. I also added GitHub repo with all the code I created, and you can find the link in the video description. Please subscribe to my channel and see you next time.